Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to go over quadratic word problems. This is going to be part one out of two parts. We're going to mainly focus in this lesson on integer related problems. All right, we're going to jump right into our first problem. We're told the product of two consecutive odd integers is one less than 4 times their sum. We're going to find both integers. So you can copy down the steps on the left if you like. I'm going to start with our let statements. Basically, any problem where you're not told the variable to use, it's a good idea to introduce your variable, saying, hey, I'm going to use x, and this is what x means. So I'm going to call x my smaller number here, and I'm not just going to use y. I'm going to use x plus 2 as the larger number. And we'll talk about why if you're unsure. Let's think about this. We weren't just told any two numbers. We were told that they're two consecutive odd integers. So I'm going to list a few up here, 3, 5, 7. These are consecutive odd integers. What do you notice? They have a difference of 2. And that will always be the case, even for cases where it's two consecutive even integers as well. So now that I've identified my let statement, I'm going to go into the translating portion of this problem. So if I'm told the word product here, I want to multiply these two numbers together. So I'm going to write x times x plus 2. Once again, that's all based on the second word in this problem, the product. Okay, and now I see is, so that's my equal sign. And now for our right-hand side of this equation, I see the expression less than. Like we've learned in previous word problems, whenever we see this, that's actually going to tack it on to the end. So I don't want to start this with 1 minus blah, blah, blah. I'm actually going to end it with minus 1. So let's start with the end of this expression first. 4 times their sum. And I'm going to save some time here. What is the sum of our numbers right now if we're using x and x plus 2? Basically, what would you get if you added those expressions up together? We would get 2x plus 2. And now don't forget, I want to throw the Siri just went off for some weird reason. We're going to throw the 1 less than in, so minus 1. And that gives us our quadratic equation. So what do we do from here? We're going to get it in standard form. I got to do some cleanup first though. So I'm going to distribute. I'm going to move a few things around. Let's see what we got. Using a lot of different colors for some weird reason. Okay, we get x squared plus 2x. On the right, we get 8x plus 8 minus 1. I'm just going to save some time and call that plus 7. Now I'm going to bring everybody over to the left. Now, my quadratic's in standard form. Now we could be a little intuitive here. We've talked about best strategy, and a lot of you guys fell in the case of always using quadratic formula. That's great, but let's think about this problem here. We know the answer is going to be an integer. So I know this is going to be factorable, and if you stare at it for a few seconds, you'll notice that, hey, this is an easy sum product. But if you know the answer is going to work out to an integer, why would you even try something complicated like CTS wouldn't be horrible here, like CTS or quad formula? It's going to give you the right answer, but it's also going to take a decent amount more time than just factoring would. So we're going to do our sum product here. This would be our most efficient technique, looking for a sum of -6 and a product of -7. That's going to be -7 and +1. So I'm going to double bubble. Now remember, we do our t-chart. We're going to get two solutions here. We get x equals 7 and x equals -1. Now, obviously, these are not consecutive integers. So what's going on here? Let's break them down one at a time. So let's just deal with 7 first. I always like to go back to the let statements. So I'm going to drag that 7 all the way back up. So 7 here would be our smaller answer. And now we're going to tack on 2 more. The next consecutive odd number would be 9. So one possible solution to this problem, or one pair of consecutive odd integers that satisfies this problem would be 7 and 9. And now alternatively, -1 is also going to work with a different partner. So -1 I'm going to add 2 to get +1. So -1 and +1 are another pair of consecutive odd integers that also satisfy this. And while getting two sets of solutions is perfectly okay, so 7 and 9, -1 and 1, however you want to write that is fine. Always do a quick check to make sure this problem didn't say something like, I noticed one of our answers is -1. Sometimes it might say like positive somewhere mixed in that into that problem, in which case -1 and +1 would be rejected solutions. While they worked, they didn't satisfy a condition in the equation. We're going to try a second example here. We're told Danny and his girlfriend have ages that are consecutive even integers. So once again, we're going to start with our let statements. I'm going to call Y Danny's girlfriend's age. Notice the little note I did add here because it wasn't specific when I originally created the problem. Assume Danny is the older person. So I'm going to call his girlfriend's age Y, and his age should be the larger one, or Y plus 2, Danny's age. Now, once again, I'm told the product here, so I'm going to multiply my two expressions, y and y plus 2, and I'm going to set that equal to 440. I distribute, get in standard form by bringing the 440 over. Once again, I know this should sort of be a nice answer, someone's age, so this is going to be factorable. 440 might be intimidating, but this would be a good one to use your graphing calculator. Do minus 440 divided by x, and when you jump into your table, it will remind you of some factor pairs that you may have otherwise been unfamiliar with. So our two numbers end up being positive 22 and negative 20. So I'm going to double bubble here, y plus 22, y minus 20 equals 0. I'm going to do my t-chart, and my two solutions are going to be the inverses, or negative 22 and positive 20. Now, once again, we're going to get two solutions here, but before we even plug one of them in, I'm going to reject one of them. Now, why am I rejecting one in this case? Think about the context of the problem. We were talking about age, so I'm not even going to consider the negative 22 possibility. If this was a different problem, negative 22 perhaps would have been an answer, with negative 20 being the next consecutive even. So in this case, we only have one solution. Obviously, I'm going to plug the 20 in. Plus 2 gives me 22 for Danny's age. So therefore, Danny's girlfriend is 20 years old, and he is 22. Once again, we rejected the negative 22 because of the context dealing with age. Pay close attention to what the problem may be referring to. Sometimes you may have to use common sense, like in this case, and some other problems may refer strictly to positive or negative solutions. That concludes this video on part 1 for quadratic word problems. We'll continue with part 2 tomorrow with more of a focus on geometry related questions dealing with area and perimeter, things like that. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.